And then now what you're going to see is I do a little tap with the scissor, which kind of bevels the hair in, and it shows me where the hair is going to sit best, right at the nape of the neck. I'm using the DB20 scissor from Mizutani. It's one of my favorite scissors. It's got a ball bearing screw, nano powder metal steel. You get a really consistent cut, consistent line when you use it. It's a really powerful scissor, which is also available on freesaloneducation.com. So I go through and I cut my baseline. Now, it's really important to make sure that you fine tune that line and make it exactly the way that you want it before you move on to the rest. Make sure it's balanced, because if it's not, you're starting off already losing when you're cutting a bob. So I want to make sure that it's nice and even. Also notice that I'm going in horizontally. So I want to talk about that a little bit. A lot of people don't cut bobs horizontally, and what I hear in a lot of classes is that they don't cut bobs horizontally because they feel like that stacks it up too much, it gets too heavy. Well, the reason that that happens, and the reason I'm not going to do this entire cut horizontally, is because once you get above the occipital bone and you're cutting horizontally, your hand tends to want to sit lower on the head. Okay, so another thing that I want you guys to pay attention to is as I over direct the hair back, when it gets to the corner, you'll see that there's a little bit of a disconnection. That disconnection I want to happen because I'm over directing the hair back, passing where you would think would be the guideline, where a lot of people would kind of tuck their hand in, but that's how you end up with a hole. So I like to over direct everything back, create that disconnection, then go in and fine tune the line again, following that guideline that we created from the beginning. That's just a technique that I like to do. It saves me from ever having a hole in the haircut, and it just pushes that little bit of extra weight where it would be a little bit weaker, that I can go in and detail after I cut it. So now I go in, take another section. I move about an inch up the head shape, half inch if they have high density, and then I continue taking horizontal panels. I'm working my way all the way up the head until I get to the low crown. Then I'm going to switch to vertical partings. So just taking a little bit of the new hair, a lot of the old hair, just bringing that into my hand, finding a clean guideline, and again, creating that square back. So just a straight line in the back, which creates that disconnection behind the ear, which you can see as I drop it right there. But then I'll go in and fine tune it and cut my line afterwards. So horizontal section, see the elevation coming off. If you notice where 90 degrees would be coming off of that section, I'm at about 45 degrees. That's a nice medium graduation. So that's the consistency that I want throughout this entire cut. Extra over direction, the head shape around the ear kind of peels in, so you get that extra over direction, which creates that disconnection at the bottom. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to fine tune it. Also notice that I had a little small hair that was missed in that part of the cut. So I go back and I cut it the exact same way. I don't just chop off that piece of hair when I see it fall down. And now I clean off that disconnection, gives me a nice thick feeling right behind the ear. And you can see that we're creating a very nice balanced shape. So now I want to break up this section, but I'm going to start working vertically. And the reason I want to work vertically is because if I continued to work up the head shape horizontally, my hand would want to fall down. And if my hand drops, my elevation drops, and then I end up with too heavy of a bob in the end result. So I go in vertically because that allows me to really focus on the weight distribution in the vertical part of the haircut. So how much do I want to stack this bob up? How light do I want it to be? Do I want it to be layered? Do I want it to be more graduated? I can really control that. Now the hard part becomes controlling your over direction. So as I take each vertical parting, I want to make sure it's coming straight back from the head, just like I was doing when I was cutting it horizontally.